South Africa. This is where the ANC draws upon most of its support. The village of Mvezo is the birthplace of anti-apartheid icon Nelson Mandela, and its residents staunchly back the ANC. Mandla Mandela is Nelson Mandela's eldest male heir and the chief of Mvezo community. He was 9 years old when he first met his grandfather, who was in prison at the time. When it was apparent to Nelson Mandela that his grandson didn't know who he was, he told a friend to contact the young boy, a conversation Mandla vividly recalls.
Your grandfather says you went to visit him. You had no clue who he was and why he was in prison, the ideals he stands for, and his commitment to the struggle for liberation of our people. He's asked me to educate you about who he is.
Mandela went on to spend many years by his grandfather's side. In 2007, he honored him by leaving his life in the city to take up duty as the head of the 350 households of Mvezo. People in this village refer to Mandla Mandela as Nkosi, meaning chief. And part of his responsibilities are resolving issues in the community like family squabbles. But in what seems like a world away from this rural setting, about 1,000 kilometers away, sits South Africa's parliament. And there he's referred to as MP Mandela. And the roles couldn't be more different. As an ANC parliamentarian, Mandela loyally supports its policies. And even as criticism and resentment towards the party among South Africans is growing, he says it's his duty to follow the party line.
I'm not there on my own individual thinking. I didn't take myself to parliament. I was nominated to parliament by the African National Congress, and I'm to carry out policies and ideologies of the African National Congress in parliament.
After 23 years of dominance, the ANC appears to be losing its grip on South African politics. In local elections last year, voter discontent over an ailing economy, along with scandals surrounding President Jacob Zuma, led to the worst election result for the ANC since Nelson Mandela swept it to power in 1994. But Mandla Mandela suggests critics of the ANC speak from a privileged position, a narrative the party has been pushing.
A lot of people were saying, Chief, what are you saying about the demonstrations and the call on the president? There's a lot of white people that are out on the streets protesting also against the president to step down. I say, I'll ask you one question. When you come out to the streets talking about your plight as communities in rural communities that have no clean, drinkable water, do those people come out in support of that campaign? The reality is they don't. I'm real to my people and our needs, and I'm only committed as a parliamentarian to the needs of my people and the needs of rural South Africans, because I can tell you that we share two different struggles.
While the more well-off in the country struggle to protect their wealth, people in communities like this one face unemployment and poverty. The level of inequality that persists in South African society is enormous. Mandla Mandela defends the ANC by pointing out what the party has managed to accomplish.
Between the period of 1970 to 1990, there wasn't a single house built by the apartheid regime. And yet, in 2 decades, this new ANC-led government has delivered, over 6 million houses? That is an achievement. Mind you, you have a country that has been challenged and stripped for almost 4 centuries, and that cannot be corrected in 2 decades.
The role of Mandla Mandela's grandfather in ending apartheid has inspired millions of people around the world. But as this country reflects on how far it has come in 23 years, more and more South Africans are asking if the party Nelson Mandela once led is what they need for the future.